And we're back. After the crushing loss in trying to get P. Diddy out on bail, the defense team is back for yet another round.
He does not deserve to be out free.
They've now filed a memorandum asking the judge for the potential dismissal of the attorneys on the prosecution team, or even a dismissal of the entire criminal indictment. Let's break down the
That's pretty damn good. I'm glad he's sitting behind bars.
Arguments in this filing and whether the defense can actually win a dismissal.
But he's only going to have so much time behind bars no matter what. But who knows what's going to happen.
Hey, I'm America's Attorney. I'm your go-to source for P. Diddy case updates. I've been a lawyer for over 23 years. I've helped over 20,000 clients. And today, I'm helping you understand this filing. Let's get started. Now, during the fight for and against Diddy getting bail, it came to light that the prosecution was in possession of photographs of some of Diddy's notes from his locker that were taken during a Metropolitan Detention Center raid. A filing from the prosecution.
If you're in jail, it's perfectly fine for them to dig through your stuff just in case of hand. You're in prison. You're not at home.
Prosecution also revealed that Diddy's phone calls and messages were being monitored. As I've covered in a previous video, the prosecution was ordered to destroy
everyone's mess. If you're using that phone there in prison, everyone's stuff is monitored. That's a guarantee. Everything is recorded. If you talk on the phone in the prison, it's being recorded.
Their copies of Diddy's jail notes. But that's not enough for the defense team, apparently. Their newest filing.
And it's perfectly legal for the courts to literally record you because just in case, and they can use it against you.
Accuses the prosecution of violating Diddy's Fourth Amendment right of protection against unreasonable search and seizure and his
you're in prison.
Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial, and
he kind of lost that by becoming a nupper.
His attorney-client privilege rights. And based on these alleged violations,
how many rights did he take away from other people?
Not only is the defense asking for a dismissal of the indictment or of certain attorneys, as I've already mentioned,
1,000 bottles of baby oil, and what he was doing is completely illegal, and he's a piece of human trash.
But also for the information in Diddy's notes and calls to be suppressed.
I mean, there's enough evidence to lock him away for quite a while.
And for a special master to replace the Tank team. Most of Combs' allegations hinge on the MDC raid that occurred on October 28th. This raid was said to be targeting contraband smuggling, but the defense alleges that it was a pretext. And they just wanted to target Combs' materials.
They went through everyone's stuff.
Filing alleges that during this raid,
not just his, but the other guys got it. If the crypto guy was still there, it was more like this. They went through his stuff too.
An investigator named in filings as Investigator 1 took pictures of the legal notes in Combs' locker. These notes contained information to discredit particular allegations and corresponding witness testimony to obtain specific type of expert.
You can consider yourself, Diddy can consider yourself, you're part of the prison. You are underneath of their watch. So your new parents now, our new guardian, is the cops in there. They have to look through it to make darn sure everything's good. They want to know you're not putting threatening stuff out.
Witness for trial to collect cross-examination material on particular witnesses. Now, according to the filing.
Oh, and also any mail he is to send out is going to be opened and checked.
Investigator.
That is one of the rules about being in prison. You have no rights when you go to prison.
1. Inform the prosecution that
you have some, but not a whole lot.
Had the images, and they directed him.
You go from American citizen to a nupper.
To send them to the filter team. Okay, so far so good. The filter team then, according to the defense team, passed all the photographs along to the prosecution with only minimal redactions. And all of this occurred.
And yes, this guy's doing a really good job.
Without alerting the defense team or sharing the images with them. The filing raises questions regarding the purpose.
I recommend going to his channel and subscribing.
Of the raid.
And also subscribe to my channel.
As well as Investigator 1's use of a camera when the defense has been told by Bureau of Prison guards at MDC that they do not carry cameras or cell phones, and it is not usual policy or procedure to do so or to take photographs. As a side note, I just want to say,
you got to be able to take photographs of stuff how it was.
Your legal argument should not include the assertion that a prison guard told me X, okay? The judge doesn't want to hear that, okay?
They need hard evidence, and they're checking everyone's stuff. Let's say a criminal makes a knife. They got to be able to take a picture of it.
So let's take a second to talk about the rights that the defense team's claims were violated. Under the Sixth Amendment, the right to counsel, the defense alleges that spying interfered with Combs' ability.
Spying? It's called protecting people.
To work with his attorneys. Now, courts have long held that
if they don't look at all the recordings of what he's talking, it could be death threats going out to people who don't deserve it because he's just a psycho.
Defense strategies must remain confidential as long as the defendant keeps them confidential. And that's 100% true. And the allegation is that the prosecution team, through this investigator one, has invaded.
Oh, another thing is Diddy can get what he does because he has a ton of money and he's spending a crap ton on lawyers.
The attorney-client defense
The
camp. They keep using that term.
Johnny Smalley is going to be up a creek with no paddle comparison to Daddy.
But I mean, did they? It's not clear at all.
But we might see Johnny Somali earlier than Daddy out of prison.
Because Combs' lawyers say that everything was marked legal and was being kept in a separate place away from everything that wasn't legal. But in previous filings, the government has said that it was not so clear. They say that they didn't read anything in the notebook marked legal. They also say that everything that they did get had been redacted by a filter team, meaning that they didn't see anything that might be attorney-client privilege.
So basically, they handed them all the information. They decided to go through all of it and seeing what it truly is, because this is a high-profile case. The government is not messing around.
But is that true? The judge ordered that much of what they had to be destroyed a couple weeks ago.
And also, if it was not supposed to be them not, basically, if it was and
over and over,
the client's stuff, and it can't be used in court, it was destroyed.
The defense argues that the investigator was effectively inside Diddy's pretrial camp, but the reality is that everything that investigator one took was nowhere near the lawyers at the time that he took it, and there's no evidence or even argument.
That means they did not go into the room. Let's say when you're in these places, there's a special room you go to, and that room is where the attorney and the person goes to, and then that's where you hand the paperwork around. It's also locked, more likely, to keep the others out.
From Diddy's team that the documents were given to Combs,
but there is a camera in there just in case,
from his lawyers, or that he had prepared them in order to give them to lawyers. Let me give you a hypothetical. Let's say he took notes from his lawyers' meetings and he wants to take them back to his cell, and every night he wants to pray that he would be acquitted.
Yeah, and there's another problem. Let's say he gives names of people which he wants basically not alive anymore. He could give it to a prisoner if he had some paperwork, and they could easily write it down and may go after them in the future when they get out.
And so he just reads aloud all of his notes to God saying, please help the defense team do this. Please help the defense team do that. Well, that's not.
God is not going to help you out.
Not attorney-client privilege, because now he's just putting that out there in the universe.
Yeah, if he's doing that, it's public knowledge.
Don't think it's a great argument to say that just because you wrote down something that your lawyers told you, that means it's still attorney-client privilege. I don't know. Warrantless searches of prisoner properties are not Fourth Amendment violations due to the legitimate peniological interest. Oh, I love that word, peniological. I woke up this morning hoping to get to use that word. I mean, it's just a great word. Anyways, that doctrine was established in Hudson versus Palmer back in 1984, back when I was, 60 years old. Now, the Supreme Court recognized that prisoners have a diminished expectation of privacy due to their, incarcerated status. Correctional facilities must maintain safety, prevent contraband, and ensure institutional security. Now, there are some key legal principles around this, and these include.
And that's very true.
Prisoners surrender certain constitutional protections upon conviction, and institutional safety supersedes certain individual rights. Corrections officers have broad authority to conduct searches to prevent potential threats. The standard inside the jail is reasonable suspicion rather than the typical probable cause that you and I enjoy out here outside the jail. Prior court rulings have
Yeah, like let's say the cops search your home without a warrant to get in there. That's illegal for the cops. But if you're in the prison and they decide today we're searching, there's nothing against that because you're in prison.
consistently upheld these search practices as necessary for maintaining order and protecting both inmates and.
And that's very true. Inmates could carry, built a knife. And if they did not do that seizure, they might not find, if they did not do that inspection, they might not find that knife.
Staff. These principles
or even gun.
Balance inmates' rights with the critical need to manage potentially dangerous.
There was prisoners' escapes over fake guns and that made and hidden, and they used it to get out.
Environments, making warrantless searches a legally accepted practice in correctional settings. But did I just try to trick you? Because the case law that we're talking about applies to post-conviction incarceration. And we all know that as of today, Diddy has not yet been convicted. I would expect
He's being held because he's a danger.
These lawyers to argue, but they haven't yet, that because Diddy hasn't been to trial, that he has a higher expectation of privacy. Diddy's lawyers have argued that prison security was a mere
You don't get higher percentage of privacy in prison.
pretext for the raid, and it was always really just about getting dirt on Combs. I mean, that could be true, but also the MDC is a notoriously rough place, and it seems unlikely to me that an entire cell block wide raid was carried out.
And thing is, he's in a different part of the prison, not with the drug dealers and all that in it. He's in a different part of it, which is with the crypto guys and that basically are less dangerous. There's separate sections for different parts of dangerous to individuals who are not that dangerous. It's just the thing is, he's missing the women in his life.
Get something that's stored in
and all the nice videos he wants to watch every night of his victims.
A locker that they could secretly go get at any time that Diddy's in the commissary or the bathroom or the recording studio. So how realistic are the defense's demands? Now, as a reminder, they're asking for suppression of Diddy's notes, an appointment of a special master.
Diddy is probably going crazy right now.
To perform privilege reviews instead of the taint team, disqualification of certain prosecuting attorneys, or even a dismissal of the charges. If you
That's not going to happen.
have followed my previous videos, you know that what Combs's lawyers really want is an evidentiary hearing. They are always asking to put the investigators on the stand. This is a great strategy. They want to get a sneak peek at what the U.S. attorneys are going to try to prove at trial. But I don't think, based on what we've seen, that the judge is going to give it to them. Now, it wouldn't surprise me.
Judge is not going to.
One bit if the U.S. attorney agrees that Diddy's notes are not admissible in evidence at trial, as they don't need his notes on account of all of his alleged criming.
Yeah, the notes are almost diddly squat. They already got tons of evidence, more likely almost like a mountain wharf.
Occurred, if it occurred.
And it's taking a while because there's that much evidence to sort through.
Months.
Oh yeah, and even if Diddy does manage to get out, if he does, he's going to deal with a mountain of lawsuits, which is probably going to drain his company completely dry.
Or even years before he wrote those notes. They don't want those in evidence. They don't even need them. Now,
because the lawsuits are going to keep rolling in to the day he's gone.
the defense has also asked that the prosecutors who access privilege
Or to his company is liquidated. And he's gone.
materials be removed from the case. Now, I understand why Combs' team has asked for this. However, these guys aren't the only lawyers in the office. And if they get kicked off, the following lawyers will have an axe to grind if they find that they have to take on Diddy's case. I don't think the judge is going to give them that relief anyways, but they asked for it. I don't think the judge actually is going to grant them any of their requests. It's just a bunch of noise as far as I can tell. What do you think is a fair judgment in this situation? Full dismissal of the charges? A 4-out?
I see him behind bars for a long time.
Deal? Drop your pro se opinion
That would make me very happy. And then also getting sued while in prison for all the damages he caused to people. He caused mental damage, physical and mental damage. He needs to lose everything. And his kids are almost the same way. He deserves to lose everything because he caused people emotional damage beyond wild dreams.
down below and let me know what you think. And while you're down there, do both of us a favor and lawyer up by subscribing so you can stay up to date on Diddy's case and a bunch of other crazy current events because weird stuff is happening every day.
And his video is going to be in the description.
And I'll be back soon with a new video. See you then.